Welcome to our deep dive, into a period of ancient Israelite history that's full of twists and turns. Yeah. The book of Judges, we're going to be focusing on the first 20 chapters, exploring the power dynamics, the key players, and the recurring theme of this era. And trust me, it's way more than just names and dates. We're talking bloody conquests, political intrigue, and heroes you might not expect.
That's right. The book of Judges gives us a glimpse into a society grappling with its identity, its faith, and the immense challenge of building a nation in a world that's anything but peaceful. We'll see how their struggles, their triumphs, and even their failures resonate with challenges we face today.
The first thing that struck me was how the book opens right after the death of Joshua. The Israelites are trying to conquer Canaan, the land promised to them, but it doesn't exactly go smoothly.
It's a messy, incomplete conquest. Judges 1 paints this picture of a complex social landscape, where the Israelites end up living alongside various Canaanite groups, leading to some, tense situations.
Like the story of Adoni-Bezek, the Canaanite king captured by the tribes of Judah and Simeon. It's pretty brutal. They cut off his thumbs and big toes, and his response is chilling. He says, 70 kings, having their thumbs and big toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table as I have done, so God hath requited me.
This gruesome scene isn't just about the brutality of ancient warfare. It forces us to confront the cyclical nature of violence. And the idea of divine justice, Adoni-Bezek sees his own fate as a kind of payback for his past actions. It makes you wonder, even when you believe you're fighting for a righteous cause, is such brutality ever truly justified?
It's a question that hangs over many of the stories in Judges. Another story that stood out to me was Caleb offering his daughter Aksa as a reward for capturing a city. It's a reminder that women were often treated as possessions in this society.
But Aksa isn't just a passive prize. She shows incredible savvy. After her husband wins her hand, she negotiates with her father for land with springs of water. She understands the value of resources and secures her own prosperity. It's a powerful example of a woman taking control of her destiny within a patriarchal system.
It's fascinating how even in these ancient texts, we find these glimpses of individuals, especially women, challenging the norms of their time. But back to the bigger picture, this incomplete conquest seems to set the stage for a lot of the conflict in Judges, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Judges 1.19 mentions that the Israelites struggled to drive out those living in valleys because they had iron chariots. It highlights the importance of military technology and foreshadows future clashes that will stem from this initial failure to fully secure the land.
So we have this backdrop of tension, a land not fully conquered, and a mix of different peoples trying to coexist. And then we see this pattern emerge in Judges 2 that really sets the tone for the entire book.
Right, this cycle of sin, oppression, and deliverance. The Israelites stray from worshiping Yahweh their God and turn to other gods. This leads to oppression from neighboring nations. In their suffering, they cry out to God for help, and God raises up a judge to deliver them. But then, all too often, they fall back into the same patterns.
It makes you wonder why they couldn't break free from this cycle. Was it simply human weakness, or were there deeper societal and political forces at play?
I think it speaks to the fragile nature of their commitment to their covenant with God. Judges 2.17 describes them as going a-whoring after other gods. It's a vivid, even shocking image that highlights the intensity of their struggle to remain faithful.
And it's within this cycle that we encounter some incredible figures, these judges who rise to the occasion. Each one faces unique challenges and reveals different facets of leadership in this turbulent period.
Exactly. Let's start by diving into the story of Ehud, a left-handed Benjamite judge who confronts Eglon, the oppressive king of Moab.
This one is definitely memorable. Being left-handed was often associated with deception and surprise in ancient warfare, and Ehud uses that to his advantage. He crafts a double-edged dagger, secures a private audience with the king, and, well, let's just say the scene doesn't end well for Eglon.
Ehud's actions are decisive, brutal, and ultimately turn the tide of the battle. It's a powerful image, but one that raises complex questions about the role of violence in achieving justice. What do you think? Is Ehud a hero, a villain, or something in between?
It's a question we'll be wrestling with throughout the book. And speaking of challenging expectations, we then encounter the incredible duo of Deborah and Jael.
Deborah is a prophetess and judge who inspires Barak to lead the Israelite army against Sisera, the commander of the Canaanite forces. She represents a powerful challenge to traditional power structures.
And Jael, a Kenite woman, takes matters into her own hand when Sisera seeks refuge in her tent. She takes him down in a way that's both shocking and strategic.
Both Deborah and Joel show incredible strength and courage, demonstrating that leadership can take many forms, their actions have a lasting impact on the narrative and force us to confront our assumptions about gender roles in ancient societies.
It's fascinating how these women, despite the limitations placed upon them, managed to wield power and shape the course of events. And then, of course, we have one of the most famous judges of all, Gideon.
Gideon's story is a roller coaster. He begins as a hesitant, even insecure man chosen by God to deliver Israel from the Midianites. He's riddled with doubt, questions God's call, and repeatedly asks for signs to confirm he's on the right path.
That fleece test, right? He asks God to make dew form only on the fleece, and then dew form everywhere except on the fleece. It's a classic example of seeking reassurance when faced with a daunting task.
It's his humanness, his very relatable struggles that make Gideon such a compelling figure. He reflects that universal human experience of grappling with doubt and seeking confirmation before taking a leap of faith.
It's a reminder that even those chosen for greatness often struggle with insecurity and the weight of responsibility. But Gideon also shows incredible courage. He defies the prevailing religious norms, challenges his own fears, and ultimately leads the Israelites to an improbable victory. And it's Gideon's military strategies that really capture the imagination. God instructs him to reduce the size of his army, not once but twice, leaving him with a mere 300 men to face a vast Midianite army.
It's a deliberate strategy to emphasize that victory doesn't always come from sheer force. It's about faith obedience and trusting in something larger than yourself, even when the odds seem insurmountable.
It's a powerful message, but I have to admit, if I were in Gideon's sandals, I'd probably be questioning that strategy. But then comes the nighttime raid, and it's like something out of a movie, trumpets blaring, clay pops shattering, and these 300 men screaming, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon."
It's pure psychological warfare. The Midianites, completely caught off guard, descend into chaos, turning on each other in the confusion. Gideon's unconventional tactics highlight the power of surprise, strategic disruption, and striking fear into the hearts of your enemies.
It really makes you think about those times in your own life when you've achieved something that seemed impossible. Did you have to challenge conventional wisdom? Did you have to think outside the box? Gideon's story reminds us that sometimes the most unexpected approach can lead to the greatest victory. But as we often see in the book of Judges, victory can be a double-edged sword.
Exactly. As Gideon's power grows, we start to see cracks in his character. He punishes those who didn't support him, highlighting the brutal side of leadership. And he creates an ephod from the spoils of war, an object that eventually becomes a source of idolatry for the Israelites.
It's a classic cautionary tale about the corrupting influence of power. Gideon starts out humble and hesitant, but success seems to change him. He strays from the very principles that guided him to victory, and the consequences are devastating, not just for him, but for his entire family.
And his son Abimelech takes this a step further. He's driven by ambition and ruthlessness, murdering his own brothers in a bid for power. It plunges the city of Shechem into a spiral of violence and betrayal, reinforcing the idea that power, when unchecked by morality and a higher purpose, can easily lead to tyranny and destruction.
It's a tragic downfall for a family that had achieved such greatness. Gideon's story is a stark reminder that even the most promising leaders can succumb to the allure of power and the temptations that come with it.
It's a sobering thought. The book of Judges is full of these complex, flawed characters who grapple with their own ambitions and the weight of responsibility. It doesn't shy away from portraying the darker side of human nature, even among those who are chosen to lead.
So we've seen this recurring cycle of sin, oppression, and deliverance play out in the lives of several judges now. Each story offers unique insights into leadership, faith, and the human condition. But I'm curious, what are some of the broader takeaways you see emerging from these narratives?
Well, one of the most striking things about the book of Judges is its unflinching portrayal of violence. It's a constant presence in the narrative, both as a means of oppression and as a tool for liberation. It forces us to confront the complexities of violence and its role in human history.
It's definitely not a book for the faint of heart, but amidst the bloodshed, there are these moments of incredible courage, faith, and resilience. Individuals rise to the occasion, challenging expectations and defying the odds.
And it's not always the people you might expect. We've seen women like Deborah and Jael step into leadership roles, wielding power and influencing events, in a society that often relegated women to the sidelines.
It's inspiring to see how they navigate those limitations and ultimately make their mark on history. But even with these moments of heroism, there's a sense of tragedy that permeates the book. The Israelites seem to be constantly on the brink of chaos, struggling to maintain their covenant with God and build a lasting society.
That struggle, that tension between their aspirations and their failures, is what makes the book of Judges so compelling. It reflects the complexities of human nature, the challenges of building a just society, and the enduring power of faith, even in the face of adversity.
And it's a struggle that continues to resonate with us today. We may not face the same threats as the ancient Israelites, but we still grapple with questions of leadership justice and how to live in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain.
Exactly. The Book of Judges isn't just a collection of ancient stories. It's a mirror reflecting our own human condition, our own struggles, and our own potential for both greatness and downfall.
It's a reminder that the challenges we face today, whether personal or societal, are often echoes of challenges faced by those who came before us. And their stories can offer us guidance, inspiration, and perhaps even a few cautionary tales to help us navigate our own paths. Feels like we've only just scratched the surface of this incredibly rich and complex text, but even in this short deep dive, we've encountered some profound themes.
We've seen the devastating consequences of an incomplete conquest, the cyclical nature of sin and redemption, and the enduring challenges of leadership. The Book of Judges is anything but a simple tale of heroes and villains.
It's a story of flawed individuals grappling with immense responsibility, facing temptations, and making choices that have far-reaching consequences.
And through their stories, we gain insights into the human condition, the complexities of faith, and the enduring struggle to build a just and flourishing society. These are themes that resonate across cultures and time periods, including our own.
Makes you wonder what the writers of the Book of Judges were trying to convey to their audience. Were they simply recording historical events? Or were they offering something more, a commentary on the human condition? Perhaps even a warning against repeating the mistakes of the past?
I think it's likely a combination of both. They were certainly preserving a record of their history, but they were also doing so with a purpose. They wanted to explore the meaning of their past, to understand their own identity as a people, and to offer guidance for future generations.
And what guidance might they offer us today? We live in a world that often feels just as chaotic and uncertain as the world depicted in Judges.
The Book of Judges reminds us that the challenges we face, political turmoil, social divisions, the allure of power, the struggle to live up to our ideals, these are not new challenges. They are echoes of challenges faced by those who came before us.
So maybe by studying their stories, their triumphs, and their failures, we can gain a better understanding of our own struggles and find new ways to navigate the complexities of our world.
Exactly. The Book of Judges is not a blueprint for living, but it is a source of profound wisdom. It encourages us to reflect on our own values, to examine the choices we make, and to consider the consequences of our actions, both individually and collectively.
One of the most striking things about the book is how it challenges traditional notions of heroism. The judges are not perfect, flawless individuals. They're flawed, complex characters who often make mistakes and struggle with their own inner demons.
And yet, despite their flaws, they rise to the occasion when called upon. They demonstrate courage, leadership, and a willingness to fight for what they believe in, even when the odds are stacked against them. It's a reminder that heroism can take many forms, and that even those who stumble can still achieve great things.
It's a message that feels particularly relevant. In a world that often seems obsessed with perfection and quick fixes, the Book of Judges reminds us that real life is messy, that progress is often incremental, and that even those who are chosen to lead are still human, with all the strengths and weaknesses that come with being human.
And perhaps that's the most enduring message of the book, a message of hope amidst the struggle, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, even when we fall short of our ideals, we still have the capacity for greatness. The potential for redemption and renewal is always present.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the world of the Book of Judges. We've encountered brutal conquests, cunning assassins, inspiring leaders, and ordinary individuals who rose to extraordinary challenges.
And through their stories, we've gained a glimpse into the complexities of faith, the allure and dangers of power, and the enduring struggle to create a just and flourishing society. These are themes that continue to resonate with us today, offering valuable insights and challenging us to examine our own lives and our own world in new ways.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it as thought-provoking and enriching as we have. And we encourage you to continue exploring these themes, to delve deeper into the Book of Judges, and to consider what lessons these ancient stories might hold for you in your own life. Should we have time?